Welcome once again to Mountain and Meadow. This week we are heading for the Vale of Avoca, the famous sweet Vale of Avoca of which Thomas Moore sang. But every time I hear at the meeting of the waters, I wonder how often Thomas Moore himself travelled this country, or whether he ever was here at all, because the Vale of Avoca is one of the most exotic parts of Wicklow, completely different from the rest of the county. And on this 10-mile walk you will see some of these extraordinary, bizarre aspects of the whole area. Starting from the meeting of the waters itself, where a bus will leave you or where you can park your car at the meetings, you make up the steep hill by Castle Howard and make your way past the Lion Arch and so up to the level of the hill known as Crone Ban, where you see the first traces of the old mine workings, and make your way across to Kilmacoo Crossroads, where you turn right and so come to the Motte Stone itself, one of the best viewpoints in East Wicklow. From the Motte Stone you carefully follow the road through the area where the ground has caved in, and so come to Tigroni and the Holy Year Cross, from which you can see both the old and the new mine workings. Then from Tigroni you follow the path down below the Cuckoo Rock and so come back to the main road, where, for a final view of the old sulphur mines of Ballymurta, you make your way up the zigzag path and so into the area of these ancient workings. From there you make your way back again to the main road and so to your starting point at the meetings and Moore's Tree.
Practically nothing survives of moor trees today except a stark skeleton, set in concrete and railed off to protect it from souvenir hunters. But this is the remains of the original tree under which the poet sat when he composed the Meeting of the Waters themselves. A path just beside the ancient tree leads you down to the riverside, where, beside the bust of the poet, you can look out over the waters and see, as well, just behind the monument, the Malone stone known as St. Kevin's Cup, which was buried somewhere nearby during the penal days to prevent it being a centre for patrons, but has now been restored to its rightful place. Heading north now along the main road from the meetings, you take the first turn to the right, the road for Connery and Castle Howard, which begins to climb almost at once. A short distance in from the main road, you find your road spanned by the tall ivy-covered arch known as the Lion Arch, formerly crowned by the figure of a lion, the family crest of the Howard family, as this was apparently the entrance to Castle Howard Domain. It is now, of course, a public road, and it leads you up steeply up the slopes of Crone Ban Hill, on top of which you can see the Motte Stone itself. And then, as you pass along a lane deeply bowered in trees, you come to the first signs of the mining activities, the old stone pillars, known as Dubedat's or Bedell's Folly, upon which a series of chains and levers were supposed to drive pumps to drain the mines from a turbine by the riverside. Higher still, after you turn right at Connery, you come to St. Bartholomew's Church, which has a stern, dissenting air, and recalls that the original miners here, many of them, were Cornish men, specially imported, over a century and a half ago. The bell-ringing arrangements of this church are rather peculiar, and it looks as if pulleys and chains from Bedell's Folly had been used. Then, from ordinary farmland, as you move forward, you come to the bare, deserted mineral grounds of Crone Ban. Everywhere old shaft heads filled in, and everywhere sweeps of mineral debris, brilliantly coloured, from orange shading down through brown to red. Right on top of the hill, commanding a wonderful view, is the great boulder known as the Motte Stone, one of the finest erratic blocks in Wicklow, carried here during the Ice Age, resting upon the mica schist rock, although it is granite itself. And after you gaze at the wide panorama from the Motte Stone, you cross more of the bare mineral ground as you make south now towards Cronban itself and towards the meetings again. But all is not abandoned and deserted mining work here. Some modern developments are going on too, and there is at least one drilling rig hard at work on further exploration at the present time. Among these brilliantly coloured heaps of old spoil, you will find several old shaft heads. These go down to an immense depth, for the whole hill is honeycombed with ancient workings. Further on, the sides of the road are lined by brilliantly twisted, contorted, and baked rock, here set by the ancient alchemy of geological processes long, long aeons ago. Then, as you move down towards Cronban, there comes a little pocket of ordinary farmland, but you head on southwards, keeping carefully to the road above Castle Howard, because at this point there have been great subsidences, where the whole ground has caved in into immense pits. This is due to recent workings which have undermined the ancient galleries of old mines more than 200 years old. So you keep carefully to the path and look out across this weird scene of desolation to old shaft heads, now cut off by great cracks and seams in the ground. Old engine houses stand gauntly here, quite isolated among the debris. But close to the road, as you go forward, is a modern landmark, a little compressor house pumping air into the new deep workings of Tigroni, below these same ancient mines. Then you come on towards the Holier Cross in Tigroni itself, and the question is, which is the finer viewpoint, the Motte Stone or this cross, set here high above the vale, where you can look out across the whole sweep of country, past the modern copper mines, that is St. Patrick's copper mines, across the Bell Rock and right on towards Avoca village itself. Coming down from the Holier Cross, you follow the road below the Cuckoo Rock, where ordinary hedges and trees seem almost as strange to the eyes as the mineral desert did that you were traversing for so long before. But right down at river level, you come back to mine workings again, where a great new modern tunnel has been driven in under the old workings, and the ore is carried out in little trucks and dumped into these huge steel hoppers. The trucks make their way across a log viaduct, built in real Western style. The contents of each truck are tipped into the giant hoppers. Then lorries come and load up beneath these same hoppers themselves. Then the ore is brought across the river for further processing, and you make your way in the wake of these same lorries, crossing either by the old bridge of Tigroni or by its new concrete neighbour alongside. The old bridge, of course, is a timber structure, now superseded, crossing the same placid river of which Thomas Moore sang.